this is getting out of hand. The whole idea of shared universes, because we're seeing actually the cracks in this happening with Star Wars this week. They're having a lot. It sounds like there's some trouble with the spin-off film Rogue One.
Well, this is what I hear. These are my initial feelings about it. Obviously, none of us have seen that footage from Rogue One. Right. We don't know how the movie plays. But Disney paid all this money for Lucasfilm rights and the rights of Star Wars, and every movie is very, very important to them, especially in this early phase. They don't want to derail the train, for good reason. But we all knew, I mean, J.J. Abrams, they seem to have ultimate confidence in him, and by all accounts, they didn't meddle too much. But this is the first standalone movie, and apparently they're meddling big time. They have a pretty good director, I mean, from what he's proven thus far in Gareth Edwards for Rogue One. But he has submitted a darker picture than I think they want. They don't want to run the risk of ruining their feel-good, happy, nostalgic Star Wars universe with something darker that might turn some mass audiences away. I think that's why they're meddling. I think they're shooting it to be much more kind of positive and adrenalized and euphoric. That's my feeling.
What's odd about that, though, is why would they think that that anyone is going to go away from any Star Wars movie and go, it was too dark, don't go see it or whatever. That's not going to happen. Plus, it's going to make all of its money back in the first weekend.
Yeah.
And do they forget that the very best movie of the whole series is the darkest one?
That's correct. That's perfect.
And I need to chime in on this because from the trailer that we've seen for this movie, I'm willing to bet that this movie is better than the J.J. Abrams one. I'm willing to play serious money that this movie is better than the new trilogy.
I'm willing to put serious money in the fact that we'll never know, because they're going to reshoot 40% of this.
Oh, I
is that really what they're going to do? 40%?
That's what I've read. They're going
and
to
I
like
thought that they were bringing in another director. That they're bringing in like a stunt guy. They're bringing it. Yeah,
they're shooting 6 to 8 weeks reshoots. And my understanding is up to 40% of the footage.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think it's important to note that what they had was according to a lot of people had seen the rough cut, a war movie. It was a war movie, a Star Wars movie, but it's a war movie that ends, now get this, ends 10 minutes before A New Hope. It ends 10 minutes. That's talk about prequels. I mean, this ends literally 10 minutes before Star Wars: A New Hope. So imagine that it's like you end your movie before the cat enters Don Corleone's office in the first Godfather. I mean, that's I'm serious. I'm very serious. I thought days to come up with that, guys.
And the movie is about that cat.
The movie's about that cat. But
man.
Can I say something about this? I look forward to this movie because I actually think Gareth Edwards has proven himself to be a very good director, and no wonder he wants to go back and do smaller movies, because I can imagine making this movie really rattled his cage to do. At the same
time, I don't think this is a Josh Trank situation, because Gareth Edwards has already proven that he can handle a big movie with Godzilla. I mean, most people were happy with Godzilla the way it was. I mean, it was very well done. I'm not crazy about Godzilla to begin with, so I wasn't prone to be gaga over it, but it was well done, executed. So I think this is on Disney. And there has to be an understanding, especially with a big film like this, of exactly what you're going after and getting from the scripting phase.
Exactly.
So why
I mean,
were they
he's
surprised?
doing, he's not changing the script that he didn't change the script that they okayed. So I assume. So I mean, what is it about his? Is it that he directed the scenes with no wacky laughs and cute robots and stuff, or not enough cute robots, or I mean, like, really, what is it?
It'll be interesting to see if he does press.
I think Dean, you bring up a lot of good points. I'm afraid what I think what it is that those Disney executives are using The Force Awakens as the template, and anything that's not like The Force Awakens is going to be cause some skepticism. So that really concerns me about Episode 8. Let's be honest, is Rian Johnson, who would be he was the most original director to ever make a Star Wars film. Even more so than Irvin Kershner. So it really concerns me, is Episode 8 going to be tinkered with?
I would be concerned if I were him as well.
I think they're all going to be tinkered with, obviously. I think, but I mean, that's the way it goes these days.
Because this goes back to our initial feelings about when Disney bought Lucasfilm and everything. So we're now beginning to see a lot of that trepidation creep forth with this. I didn't think it would happen with a standalone film, but it is. So, I don't know. I mean, I actually thought Rogue One looked like, hey, this could actually be a really awesome addition to the Star Wars movie based on that trailer that was released a couple of weeks ago. And if you don't like the tone of that, if you're going to change that to match The Force Awakens, then it's just not good, because J.J. Abrams and Gareth Edwards are such totally different filmmakers. If you're trying to make Gareth Edwards closer to J.J. Abrams, that's not going to work. At least from where I'm sitting at right now, that's not going to work very well.
And it's been very heartening that Disney has hired Gareth Edwards and Rian Johnson to helm Star Wars movies. It really put me in the frame of mind that, okay, they're reaching out to very competent, in some cases very good filmmakers with original visions. So they don't necessarily want cookie cutter. But now this kind of stuff happens, and it makes me think, no, they want cookie cutter. It's the classic example. Again, I don't know because I haven't seen any footage, but learning from history, it's a classic example of studios hiring really good directors, or in some cases auteurs, and then not wanting their vision and sabotaging what makes them unique from the very freaking beginning. Why hire them if you're going to cut the legs out from under them and not let them make their movie?
Let me just step in here. I just recently, just today, was reading an article. This is related to on IndieWire. It was very good, called Duncan Jones, Warcraft, and What Went Wrong. One of the critics has seen Warcraft, but not all of them, including Ann Thompson is in here, and Eric Cohn and Kate Freeland and so forth. But they're talking about something that we've talked about on the show many times, at least a few times, about them hiring these directors who are pretty much fresh out of the indie world, and then throwing them into these huge productions that they can't handle. Now, I mean, like Duncan Jones, for instance, his previous productions, of course, were Moon and that really good Jake Gyllenhaal movie, Source Code. Source Code, yeah. Both very good movies. One really low budget, one mid-budget at, like something like $40 million. And now he's thrown into this $200 million, behemoth, and it's gone south on them, even though he's a very good director now. So what did go wrong? And I do think that it goes back to that same thing, even with Gareth Edwards now. I mean, it's the same kind of situation. Really, I mean, like he was thrown in earlier. So, yeah, I know he had Monsters. That's all I knew of him before Godzilla. Right. And then you get Godzilla, so you can see the connection there, obviously. And you can see why that would work for him. But, then this is a little bit of a different animal. I mean, big time.
This is
a different
Godzilla. This is bigger. You're dealing with the granddaddy of all movie franchises. I mean,
right.
As much I wouldn't want to be.
It's a little bit more complicated. So, but what the article was about is them getting these people and them not being ready for it because they haven't had enough time since the studios are not making these mid-budget movies anymore, where indie directors can sort of hone their craft a little bit. They're not doing those anymore, so they just get thrown in face first into the pool.
You're completely right, but you speak to a lot of directors who have paid their dues, that have been making movies for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those people will say, God, I don't want a $200 million movie, because it's impossible to realize an original vision or your own personal vision when you have so many cooks in the kitchen, where it's filmmaking by committee.
Exactly.
That is not conducive to what most truly great filmmakers want to accomplish. There's so very few people that can do that. And I think you have to earn the financial accomplishments under your belt in order to earn that freedom. So obviously Spielberg can do that. Michael Bay can do that. I mean, say what you want to about Michael Bay, but he's a guy that makes $200 million movies, and his style shines through. He has a unique style, and it's present. He can work within that system.
You're absolutely right.